everyone, it's Maria. This is the 6th time I've filmed this because everybody keeps calling or interrupting. I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to share with you books that I've read before I return them to the library because I really wanted to share them with you. So, first up is Inspired. This is Slaying Giants, Walking in Water, and Loving the Bible Again by Rachel Held Evans. This was a really great book to come at the time it did. I have felt very jaded with Christianity and the Bible lately, and she asks some great questions. She gives some great historical context for some of the stranger stories in the Bible that I have a hard time with. It's a great intro for somebody who is unfamiliar with the Bible or somebody who feels like they're so familiar that they just don't care anymore. So I really appreciated this. At some point, I'll probably talk more about it. Next up is The Most Beautiful Thing I've Seen by Lisa Gungor. This is a spiritual memoir. She was part of a Christian contemporary music band that kind of has veered a little bit in direction and is much more progressive and liberal in their theology. It was an alright book. I have enjoyed some of the things that she's written as far as songs go. This was not the most profound thing that I've ever read. It was okay, but there's better ones out there, I suppose. That's probably why I've just read some really good ones. Next up is The Growth Mindset Playbook, A Teacher's Guide to Promoting Student Success by Annie Brock and Heather Hundley. This was great, whether you're a homeschooling parent or a teacher, educator. It talks about helping your child move and your student move into a place where they're able to take risks. They can come up with solutions if they make a mistake and kind of recover from that as opposed to just giving up. It talks about asking for constructive feedback, getting them to figure out what they could do better. So you're making them the most important person planning their educational journey as opposed to you telling them what to do, which I think generally works a lot better. That falls into Charles Duhigg's Smarter, Faster, Better. I have been wanting to read this book ever since it came out and I heard about it. This is the same author who wrote The Power of Habit, which was probably one of the most game-changing books for me to read. I think I quote it probably once a month at least, probably more than that. Smarter, Faster, Better talks about doing life more efficiently, handling things that come up that are unexpected, working through motivating yourself when you don't care anymore. It was just really well done. One of the things he talks about is if you want to retain information that you're taking in, the best way to do that is to use it, which makes sense. That's why teachers become the best students, because I feel like if you teach something to somebody, you get it better if you're explaining it. Same thing with journaling. This is one reason I started journaling again was because of this book. I really appreciated how he talks about things, but some of the things that I really liked that he talks about, let me see if I can find it in my journal, was giving choices. Yes. There's so much parenting information in here also, like parenting educatedly. Anybody who works with another human being or yourself, this was a great book. It talks about if you have something that is undesirable to do, give yourself choices, even if they seem minuscule, like what color font do you want to use to write this? That was a weird one that I just thought of. Or what beverage do you want to have while you have this phone call that you've been dreading? The more you give yourself choices, you feel like you're in control, and control makes you feel like you can do this. So that's one thing he talks about. Telling yourself stories, working through information, whether it's stories about the end of the day or a conversation you had, the more you take that knowledge and recapsule it, then you are going to kind of make it more of a part of who you are. Safe spaces as being very important to doing things better. He talks about if you're going into a meeting and there is somebody who is very efficient at running meetings and you're out in 10 minutes, it's not as good as a meeting that took 25 minutes, but everybody felt heard and validated and like they were an integral part of that meeting. So I thought that was a very interesting perspective. It made me think a lot about homeschooling and how I need to do better about making my child be the coach of themselves, and I'm just alongside them. Giving stretch goals as opposed to just SMART goals, the measurable, specific, those kinds of things, as opposed to also asking, like, if you if you could do any kind of goal, what would that be? And like a very big goal that seems completely unachievable. He talks a lot about how manufacturers have taken some of these concepts and really revolutionized their industries. And I think that was really fascinating to read about. Another couple books one book that I finished, one book that I have not finished, that I am doing on my Kindle, Victoria by Daisy Goodwin. It's a historical fiction novel on Queen Victoria. We're getting ready to do Queen Victoria for history, so that's been really fun. There is a mini series that I've been watching that follows it almost exactly, so I'm kind of feeling like, why am I reading the book if I could have just watched it? Because it really is just almost word for word dialogue. So if you've watched the Daisy Goodwin inspired Victoria miniseries, at least the part that I've seen, you probably don't need to read the book. Which, there are rare instances in which that's the case, but I guess sometimes it happens. I also did finish reading Rainy Nightingale by Kate DiCamillo, which is a middle grade book I read out loud to campers before bedtime. It's a story of 3 girls in the summer in the 70s that are trying to kind of change their lives, and the friendship that ensues because of it. It was very fun. Probably wasn't as strong as some of her other books. The Miraculous Voyage of Edward Tulane was just, Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane was phenomenal. This one was just okay, but it was fun to read out loud to middle schoolers. Now, the other 3 that I'm in the middle of, we'll find out if I finish. This is The Awkward Thoughts of W. Kamau Bell. Tales of a 6'4" African-American, heterosexual, cisgender, left-leaning, asthmatic, black and proud, blurred mama's boy, dad, and stand-up comedian. I have loved his show, United Shades of America. He asks such great questions. He's not afraid to do things that seem terrifying. He went to a Ku Klux Klan cross burning. Like, that was hard to watch. This has been a really fun book to read, but it's also been thought-provoking, which I appreciate, and it's funny, so I've enjoyed it. I'm only halfway through because, again, I don't like missing some of the things he has to say. He's a good guy. Next is For the Love of Physics by Walter Lewin. He actually has a YouTube channel teaching physics, which I have not checked out yet, but I'm excited about. I did not like physics very much in high school. My best friend in high school actually went on to become a physicist. He works at Fermilab, and so he did all of our work. I did not do any of our work, but this has been really fun to kind of pick up and kind of ignite a love of physics and science a little bit more than I had before. Surprise, surprise, we're doing physics for school this year. And then finally, I'm halfway through Raising Global IQ, Preparing Our Students for a Shrinking Planet by Carl Hobart. This I hijacked off of my mom's bookshelf because she has tons of books like this kind of thing. This has been really good, and it's also reignited my passion for wanting to do better with language teaching to my kids. My husband and I are pretty good with Spanish. Okay, we're okay with Spanish. I can understand more than I put out. But I wanted to do a better job with my kids, and this got me excited. It got me more interested in trying to figure out how I can incorporate more global culture things into our school year, into our field trips, into our life, and I'm enjoying it. So I will probably tell you more about this whenever I finish it. So that is the bulk of what I have been reading this summer. I'm sure there's been some other stuff, but those are the ones that I wanted to share with you. I would love to know if you've read any of these, if you have questions about any of this stuff, especially if there are books that, you think correspond with these. I would love to know more. So tell me in the comments, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.